Hello, my name is Matt.
And I'm Jamie.
We are the Shade Tree Chefs. Look at that. Much better
In sync.
In sync this
Perfect.
time. All right. Well, we thank you all for joining us again for episode 2. First thing we want to do is take a look back at episode 1. And we noticed one thing when we re-listened to it was the overuse of a certain word.
Which word was that?
That was definitely.
Definitely was.
most certainly.
So our goal right now is not to say the word definitely this episode. If it comes out, it comes out. But
So if anyone wants to play a drinking game, go back, listen to episode 1, and take a drink anytime one of us says the word definitely. All right. Moving on from that.
that's going to be a good time, Matt.
That would be a good
gonna
time.
be
We're
a
going to have
time.
to do that
We'll do it
ourselves,
ourselves,
later.
yeah.
And then maybe record episode 3.
That could be a special episode right there, just getting through episode 1.
That's true.
Okay.
So moving on, we're going to talk about more of the progression of our grilling careers, so to say, gear or grills that we started out with that really got us into it, and our journey to what we use today.
Yeah.
So Jamie, what got you into grilling? What was that first grill that you were using when you really started getting into grilling?
Well, I had a gas grill growing up. My mom and dad had a gas grill. We used that all the time. I wouldn't say all the time, but we used it often enough. We had a charcoal grill, your classic Weber. That thing was beat to snot. It was rusty. I know it had a broken leg, and it just sat in the corner just collecting dirt and dust. And
Out in the elements.
out in the elements, just dying out there. And I feel bad. Hindsight's 2020. I should have saved that thing. But
Same thing. I
How about-
remember my dad had, a Weber grill. He wasn't much. He didn't grill all that often. I do recall, him making chicken wings or whatnot on it. But there again, one day he just got rid of it and didn't know. From what I remember, it was still in good shape.
Sure.
So
yeah, those are a dime a dozen. But they have their value. They hold their value, and we'll talk about that.
all right. So after so you said your parents had a gas grill.
Yeah,
a
sorry,
Weber. What was your first grill?
My first real grill, I guess, would have been I kind of had a hybrid grill. It had a charcoal on one side and a gas grill on the other side.
Right, I remember that grill.
Kind of the best of both worlds.
A little
And
small though.
It was a little small, so entertaining. It was kind of a downfall because you had to monitor fuel levels on both, and you had two different fuel types. So if one end was running out of fuel, your LP tank, then you'd have to, if you had another tank backed up, cool, you're good to go. But if you don't have that tank, then I guess you're looking at charcoal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a good idea for a grill. During the week, you don't have much time. You fire up the propane side, throw some burgers on it, some brats,
Yeah.
and you're going to have it in quick order. You had a little more time, light up the charcoal side. Problem is real estate.
Right. Right.
Myself, it was more on the gas side. My first.
So same.
So same, yeah. First grill I really had, it was a gas grill. It was like a 5-burner, nice size grill.
Sure. Well, it used to have. I think it started off with like King of the Hill. I forget
Right.
the main character.
Yeah.
He sold propane, and he was
Right.
all about propane being the superior fuel, and it popularized, I think, gas grills or gas grilling.
Right. I mean, I went through, I want to say 7 tanks of LP that summer.
That's a lot
I
of
think
fuel.
I had one of those. They have it like Home Depot or not. It's kind of square. It's not like a Weber. I forgot the names.
I can't
the
even
names
picture what
limit.
you're talking about. But-
Yeah, red top.
Oh
black
yeah,
on the
like
bottom.
a cheap, like $20-$30.
Yeah, I mean that thing. I
Aussie or
yeah,
like
the
a-
Aussie. That's
Aussie?
it. Yeah, the Aussie.
Okay.
So what are you using now?
Yeah, so I think about 5 years ago now, my wife bought me a 26-inch grill, also a Weber, and I didn't know what I had. This thing was huge. It's all put together for me. I think she got it for me for Father's Day. So I come out in the backyard and I see this big old black shiny grill, and I'm like, holy cow, this is pretty awesome. So, with all my experience in gas grills, I had to reacclimate myself to charcoal.
Right. And I had for me it was a 22.
Okay.
And
So the classic, the one that was dying in my backyard growing up.
right, the classic 22, and
Yeah.
I mean I liked it, but I noticed I was running out of room.
Sure.
You know, if you're cooking for 4 people, or if you have some company over, you didn't quite have enough room. And I remember seeing your 26,
Yeah.
and just staring at it like, wow,
Right.
that thing is so much bigger.
Oh, it's so nice.
So of course, then I went out and got myself a 26. Still use a 22. I use it for parties, some overflow, or have a pizza attachment. Love using that to make some pizzas.
And we'll talk about attachments later on, but yeah, the 22 itself has so many aftermarket accessories. I don't think the 26 does as much, but the 22, I mean, they have everything from pizza attachments to rotisseries, and like I said, we'll talk about that more. But
Right, and the 26, even the 22, although limited on space, that's all I use for smoking. I've had offset smokers, a electric smoker.
Oh, yeah.
And they all worked. And then the electric smoker took a dump on me, and then I've just transitioned over. I mean, the Weber seems to hold its temp well. You have what do you using to smoke?
well, yeah, I just want to agree with you that the 26 itself is really good at smoking. There's multiple ways you can do it. It holds its temp, and it's good. It's a good size for offsetting. But I think last year they were on sale. There was a Weber Smoky Mountain at Home Depot, or I think it was Home Depot, or I forget what store. But it was on sale, and I was like, okay, I don't want to keep buying these Webers. I don't want to be brand specific. I want to see what else is out there.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm looking online, and all the forums online are saying, this is the grill, or this is the smoker. Like there's so many good things to say about it. And it was between that, and I think it was like an Oklahoma Joe. Ultimately, I decided to go with the Weber. Now, if you look in my backyard, all you're going to see is Webers. So
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you like them.
yeah, and they
do the
work.
job.
They work. They have a good warranty. I'm not trying to sell them or anything like that, but they're good. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely a solid grill.
it is.
My collection kind of got rounded out. For those that don't know, I tend to host a lot in the summer. I have a above ground pool, and it's kind of the old lady likes to have parties. So we're having a party one day, and I just didn't have enough room between the 26 and the 22.
Which is surprising, but yeah, we had a lot of people. You do have a lot of people there with the pool.
Right. So then she went out and ordered the the King Ranch.
Yeah, the Beast.
The Beast was
As it
that
were.
37.5 inch.
Yeah. So we thought the 26-inch was big, but then he's like, yeah, I got the Beast, and I had to come check it out, and yeah, this thing is huge.
I've only used it a couple of times, and I've used it more for smoking.
Sure.
And I tell you what, it's been definitely a learning curve both times. First time I had to take everything off, add more fuel. I wasn't getting the temp I wanted. Second time, I thought I made up that difference.
Sure.
My mistake of the first time, but that was not the case. I then again had to take everything off and add a bunch more fuel, but tons of room.
Definitely a learning curve on that one, but it's really nice to show off to your friends. You have somebody come over and you're like, check this thing out, and I think you could probably fit almost a whole hog on that thing.
It's definitely big. Oh, there's that magical word.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. So that's kind of what we're using now. So let's talk about growing up. Right?
Growing up, yeah, not just growing up with what kind of grills we had. I want to talk about, actually, I've been talking about the food and meats, actually. We were just at the store earlier, but we were talking about, what was it, pork chops.
Pork chops, a food.
What was like one food growing up that your parents or grandparents or whatever the case is, they would butcher? We all had that one, either a cut of meat or some recipe where you grow up and it was just dry and it was tough to eat.
Right, and to be honest, if I'm correct on this, it's pretty recent, within the last couple of years, that you would even eat a pork chop.
Pork chops, yeah.
Pork
I
chop.
did not like pork chops, and I think it's the same with chicken for you, but pork chops was my thorn, and I'm like, I don't like pork chops just because I was scarred from growing up.
Sorry, mom. Right?
Sorry, mom. Yeah, I love you.
Yes, definitely. It definitely seems like pork is that one
Pork.
cut that everybody tends to just overcook.
Yeah, and so my family now is like, we want pork chops. We want pork chops. So I went out. I got some pork chops. I'm like, okay. I looked up a recipe, online like everybody else does, and we found one. I grilled it up, and I'm looking at what temperature does this thing need to be cooked to.
Right.
Turns out, I guess a couple of years ago, I think USDA or whoever, they lowered the temperature that it needs to be cooked to. Pork needs to be cooked to. And I think back in the day, it used to be like 160 or something like that. But now I think it's only like 145 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was always scared, or like mentally scared of seeing pink in my meat. So I'd cut open the pork after this first cook, and I'm like, attempt out at 145 or 150.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, technically this thing should be done, but a certain part of it was, I think one of them was pink.
Right. So what you do is you feed that to the wife and kids, and have leftovers that was still in the fridge, and see if they make it the next day. Right.
Right. Yeah.
No, I'm on the same boat. You're
Same
used
boat,
to,
yeah.
other than beef, right? You always the thought always was it has to be well done,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. Yeah, if it says 145, I generally go above that
Sure.
a little bit, but I'm not afraid of that little bit of pink, and
Yeah.
it turns out so tender
Yep.
and juicy.
Yeah, and same with steaks. Again, growing up, it'd be like, how do you want your steak? And rare time that I had steak was medium well or well done, I
Well
guess.
done, yes.
And it's the same again. It's like you're chewing it, and it's just hard to swallow. And you're like, you drink
Pass
more.
me the A1.
Pass me the A1. That's another thing. Pass me the A1. Now A1 is almost banished from the house, but it's got its place. But yeah, steak. I said something about chicken. I know you growing
Chicken.
up,
Oh, yeah.
Chicken was
Well,
your,
it was
your thorn.
yeah. On the grill, my dad would actually make really good barbecue chicken.
Sure.
Drumsticks or whatnot, and so never an issue there. It was more of he would use the slow cooker and take skinless chicken breast, just sprinkle a little Lawry's seasoning salt over it, and
Lowry's was a staple in the house.
and let it go for 8-10 hours. He'd get home and you'd have like this gelatin, this gelatin like fat substance on the bottom, and this leathery.
There you go.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you're
leather-like.
saying.
Leather-like. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Consistency on the top and just completely dry. So I do to this day have a tough time eating chicken.
Yeah, for sure. Chicken is one of my favorites. The chicken breasts themselves are expensive, but you can get chicken thighs and tenderloins and make some pretty good stuff out of chicken. I love a good chicken wing. I've perfected chicken wings in the past year or two. So, I mean, you can throw anything on them chicken wings. You can eat them dry. You can sauce them, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I've done there again. It's not often, but I've done where you get a rub or a seasoning, put it on, and just grill them.
Yeah.
No sauce. Turns out
Yeah.
really good. A combination of the two turns out well.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're gonna be putting in like a salad or something like that, I love putting chicken, like cut up chicken in a salad. And there again, you don't have to put a lot of seasoning on it. Salt, pepper, But meat itself has gone up. We were just at the store and looking at the cost of meat, and
Right. Yeah. I think we haven't thought too much about it because being winter here in Wisconsin, I know personally I'm not out grilling terribly often.
not as often as I wanna.
So now we're leading into, it's late February. We're gonna get into March, April. It's gonna get a little bit nicer, and we're gonna start going back to where we're grilling out most nights.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In the summertime, springtime, summertime, even fall, I'm out there 5 days a week at least. Up until weekends where it's like, all right, let's take a break, let's go out or whatever.
But yeah, with these meat prices, I mean, even ground meat, how's that going to affect what we do and our choices in this upcoming summer? I realize there's a lot more important things going on, but this definitely is a factor into, I guess, the grilling season.
Right. It is. we looked at pork chops, still decent price. I think it was what was it? Pork bellies, pork shoulders.
Yeah, pork shoulder was still holding.
Still decent. You know, you can go to Costco and still get a 2-pack of pork shoulders or pork butts for $30.
Yeah, and I want to say that was.
I think
was
that's-
that 16 pounds?
Those,
13
yeah.
to 16, somewhere
Yeah.
in that range.
And those are boneless, but they still produce a pretty good pulled pork. I love pulled pork. I think
Yes.
and we'll talk about that later too. But my favorite thing to do is good pork butt or pork shoulder.
Yes.
You know, it takes a long time, 10 hours or 8 hours, depending on which way you want to cook it
And what temp?
and what temp. And that's
Another discussion.
That's another
we'll have.
discussion. Yeah,
We don't see eye to eye on that one.
Note to self, yeah, he's more of a hey, if we can get it done quicker, let's do it quicker. I agree, but to a certain point, some cuts of meat you do want to spend more time on, but
That'll be a whole nother day of topics.
that could be a whole nother day of topics.
but-
So note to self, write that one down. We'll talk about that. Going
So,
forward.
now that we're releasing these, we do have a Facebook page, working on a website and all that. Give us your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this upcoming meat? The meat prices, and how is this going to affect your grilling, or how has it affect your grilling, or even how you're grocery shopping now? How have you had to rethink your meal plan throughout the week?
Yeah, right. I mean, are you trending away from certain foods that you like to grill or cook? What are you eating more of now that food costs have gone up?
Right. I mean, I definitely think that you get something, you're thinking of, how can I use this again?
Right.
Right. Buy a ham.
Yeah.
And then just make it as a ham, but then repurposing it either for sandwiches
Put it
or
in
a
a
soup.
sandwich. Yep.
So, please, we'd love to hear your feedback on this.
Feedback is going to be awesome, just so we can talk to you guys and hear what you guys think about this. But
With that being said, I think we've kind of wrapped up what we had planned for today.
yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about today. We do have a couple topics we talked about today that we're going to write down and talk about in either next episode or the following one. But
With that being said, my name is Matt.
and I'm Jamie.
We'll see you again
Next time.
next time on Shade Tree Chefs.